Attention business owners, can you make heads or tails of workers' compensation? Very few people can. Listen to the pros that are making businesses smarter every Wednesday. The Evan and Dave's PEOs and More Show lesson begins now on 1250 Wins WHNZ.
Hello, 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 Tampa Bay listeners and beyond, nationwide. You've got Evan and Dave's PEOs and More Show. I'm Evan Collard.
And I'm David Syracusa.
We've got a good hour in store for you today, business owners. We're going to be doing a little PEO chit-chat. We've got the Al Estes Bail Bonds team back in the studio today. They are always a fun hour. Got some updates on some legislative talk we've done in the past, and well, a whole lot more on some pretrial stuff. And well, I'll leave all that fun jazz to them. Well, listen. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, thanks, sir. We are talking technology today, and I wanted to jump right into it and steal Evan's thunder if I could, because technology is the backbone of what makes a PEO, a professional employer organization. It's so huge, and you know, the amazing thing about it is that most people, when using a professional employer organization, don't even realize all of the amazing technological tools that are at their disposal, and a lot of those tools sometimes go unused because they're taking advantage of the things that make the most sense for them. But there is a whole plethora of tools available to anyone that is utilizing a PEO, and if you're not utilizing one right now, there are a lot of things that we're going to talk about today, Evan, that probably could help to improve what their company is doing.
Well said, Dave. And by saying a lot of times, he's being very kind to you. It actually was the creation of this show. The birth of this show was because Dave and I were sitting here and we're signing people up. We're helping businesses all the time. And you know, a year into it, 6 months into it, they realize you do their workers' comp. And obviously we're doing their payroll for them, and that's it. And there's just so much that they can do for you as a business owner, helping you with the HR and the state unemployment claims, the comp claims, and a lot of that back office stuff. And that's kind of how Dave and I got our butts in the studio and created this show, to really hit home on all the ways a PEO can help your business, aside from the normal comp and payroll.
That's right, and the funny thing is, well, Evan, Dave, why don't you just tell everyone what they do when you sign them up? Well, you know, the thing about it is, at the time that we normally sign people up, it is all about, hey, we're getting someone back on a job site. We are getting someone workers' comp with no money down, and they're, you know, in a position where they can't afford money down, and that's what they're focused on. Hey, I need the coverage. I need it now. I need to get my guys out there. And we tell them, hey, you got a lot of other tools here available. But at that time, normally, they're focused on, what can you do for me right now? I need this. I need the savings. I need the coverage. I need to get back at the job site. So this allows us the time to talk to people and allow them to digest some of the different things they do. Let's look at some of the most commonly utilized tools that you got out there. When an employee or an employer is using the system, there's a lot of stuff that becomes available on the website. The PEO allows you to see your personal info on there. Make sure that they've got the right address for you. Make sure they've got the right phone numbers for you. You can see your compensation history, reviews that you've gotten in the past from your employers. Come tax time, this is going to be very important right now. We're rolling up on April 15th pretty quickly here. See your year-to-date. See your W-2s, your W-4s. There's a lot of information that's sitting there at your fingertips that people might not be using. Other big things, you can see your benefit plans on there. I don't know how often we get calls from people saying, hey, I need to find out, what's my deductible on this plan? Is it a $2,000 or is it $4,000? It says out of pocket. All of that information is available with a couple of clicks of the keyboard. Boom, you are there.
Yeah, we hear it a lot around this time of year, business owners, and I'm sure you do too. Boss, where's my W-2 at? It's January 31st. I want to go do my tax returns. I'm doing TurboTax. I'm doing a speed file. I haven't gotten my stuff yet. It's as simple as jumping on the website, clicking on a couple of links, accessing every employee you have, not only current employees, but we're talking January 31st of this year. What about the employees that worked for you for 3 weeks last year, last January, last February? Those guys are long gone and certainly not thought of. They only worked with you a couple of weeks. It is all right there in front of you.
And how about the fact that now the boss doesn't have to say, yeah, all right, Tommy, hold on. Jump off the site. I'm going to have to drive back to the office and get that information. It's right there. Hey, Tommy, when you go home tonight, look it up online. Don't have a computer at home? Come into the office first thing in the morning. It's right there. Take you 2 minutes. Does not require any time out of the boss's schedule.
It sure does. And it gets better than that. Everything that we're mentioning, it's still on the employer's side, and it's still benefiting the employer, streamlining the headaches and hassles that go along with payroll and HR and being in the business of employees. But what about the employee side? What about a guy that wants to request time off? Or for that matter, it's Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and you got a dozen employees that want to request time off. These employees can access the same system. Ask for time off, ask for a raise, ask for a lot of things. And this way it doesn't always have to be front time in front of the employer. You jump on the message board, you jump on the task board, you send it to your supervisor, your boss, and the whole process streamlines a heck of a lot easier.
You're listening to Evan and Dave's PEOs and More shows, 727-421-8250 outside the studio. And for the employers out there, how often have Evan and I heard, we don't have the time right now to stop and save all of that money. We can't do it. We got to do employee apps. How about e-signatures? How about pre-populating the applications? We put the information in one time on the first page. It populates onto all the lines where it asks for address, name, date of birth. How about the fact that we can now do it without voided checks? We can set up the direct deposits for you. There are a lot of things. Access for the website. Set the access up so only the employer can see the entire site. Only the HR managers can see certain things for certain employees, but they can't actually change anything. Set it up so the employees can see only their information. Set it up however you want. The systems are so customizable, it is amazing what is out there. Also, what is amazing out there right now is the pre-trial services that are going on in our county. And Evan is laughing because he knows we got Al and Eric coming up here in a minute, and they're going to tell you some amazing stuff. They've always done it in the past, and they got new information to spread as well.
That's right. We're certainly going to be getting to them after the break. But before we go, business owners, we cannot stress this enough. Some of the stuff Dave was hitting on there. If you're using a PEO that's still in the Stone Age, don't do it. Employee apps, not a hassle anymore. It's called onboarding. You give us their names, address, socials. We enter them right into the system. The guys are covered the same day without all that paperwork. We can help you. We got plenty more coming back with Al and Eric after the break. Don't go nowhere.
Keep going.
You are back on with Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show. For anybody that hasn't heard of the SD's team, they've been in the Tampa Bay area for over 40 years. So if you haven't heard of them, you've probably been sleeping during that time period. But we've got them back in the studio for another hour. It's always a fun hour. Al, Eric, tell me what's going on in the bail bonds world nowadays.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the bail bonds world. I was recently out in Las Vegas for the Professional Bail Agents Convention. My dad was at the Florida Sheriff's Association. I don't think we have enough time to cover it all, but we can go over some of the most interesting points.
Tough weekend, I bet.
Yeah. I would have chosen your gig there out in Vegas.
We need a PEO convention in Vegas. I mean, come on.
Well, the featured speaker was, of course, Sheriff Joe Arpaio from Maricopa County, Arizona, and he's quite the colorful character. He spoke about illegal immigration, and he is pro-bail. He's one of those lock 'em up guys, and we appreciated him coming and giving a good talk. But
so that means he's not a fan of pretrial?
He is definitely not a fan of pretrial release. He's a fan of pink underwear and pink handcuffs.
Nice.
Yeah, for those people who don't know that story behind him, he has had a lot of controversial issues out there, but the success ratio is what
Phenomenal.
speaks for itself.
Phenomenal.
Right?
Phenomenal, absolutely. And without a government...
He keeps getting elected, too. That's strange.
Yeah, isn't that weird? If you keep people safe and you keep the criminals off the streets, they're going to reelect you. That's basically what it comes down to. I mean, It's easy for people outside Arizona to cast stones and say he's being mean to the criminals, but when it comes down to it, he's protecting the people that matter, the citizens that are paying attention to the law.
Indeed.
Tell us a little bit about the whole process. We went over that way back, one of the first times that you guys came in, and we've been worried about deeper issues since. But go back to the beginning, like the young lady Rachel that called in earlier. I mean, what happens in a situation like that? Why is she so pleased with the service that you guys gave her?
Because we pride ourselves on providing 5-star customer service, and at the same time, we go the extra mile and we explain the processes of the jail, the processes of the court system. We kind of guide people through it. It's kind of like getting dropped in a maze, and if you don't know what's going on, you're never going to get the answers from the people who are employed there, because they're good people, but they're just working their shift and they're going to do what they're going to do. We take the extra time to go through the processes, go through the steps that you need to do. We try to help our clients out as much as possible with the information that they need.
You're listening to Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show. Callers today, please give us a shout. 877-897-8255. In the studio today, Al and Eric Estes with Estes Bail Bonds.
When someone is arrested, unless they are a hardened type criminal, it's kind of a real thud on a person's life when they're arrested, and that's a time when you have to be nice to them and talk to them. And I'm sure that this young lady that called us a little while ago didn't call the sheriff and give them any thanks for anything they did to her. So
I bet not.
It's a time where little things that might not add up to some people, but other people appreciate you being somewhat kind to them and that sort of thing when you deal with them, and that's what we do.
Well, we say at every show that you guys make the process as painless and swift as possible, and it's always glad to hear it firsthand with somebody calling in and thanking you every step of the way. So,
indeed.
That's right. So somebody gets arrested, and what's the next step before they give you a call? Well, first of all, where would they call you at?
727-571-9999.
Okay. They've been arrested. What happens? They're thrown into the back of the car, they're driven to the jail, and now they get their one phone call? How does it work? And they call Al and Eric?
Give us a call. We'll take down as much information as possible. We'll make some phone calls for you. We'll try to contact friends, loved ones, relatives, associates. We go the extra mile. We take every collect call from the jail. We try to do what we can for the people as quick as we can do it. Sometimes, we have to get other people involved to come down as a co-signer. If the bond's large enough, if you have a long record, we may need collateral, those kind of things.
now, according to the movies, it pretty much always boils down to, 10% in collateral, but that's not always the case, is it, Eric?
No, sir. 10% are only on bonds over $1,000 now. Any bond from 0 to 1,000, there's a flat fee of $100. And collateral only comes into play when you have a really long record, or if you haven't been in the county that long. We take everything on a case-by-case basis. It's a risk evaluated deal.
There you go. Basically, underwriting the risk, making sure that you are going to be responsible for taking responsibility of your actions, essentially.
Correct.
That's what Al and Eric help you to do.
We've got about 30 seconds. Anything to add, guys?
If anybody's got a warrant, they can get a hold of us and we can help them get in and out of that jail a lot faster if they'll come to our office, and we'll do what they call a walkthrough for them.
That's a good way to close the hour.
Thanks for having us back, guys. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it as well.
On behalf of Al, Eric, Dave, and myself, we thank you very much. Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show. Check it out on a 167-hour break.
You've been listening to Evan and Dave's PEOs and More show, where as another lesson comes to a close, another business gets smarter. Tune in next Saturday at 2 p.m. so they can add your company to their satisfied group of savvy business graduates.